going on, YouTube? Culturedog Sam Hatch back with a Laserdisc player collection update. Yeah, I had 4 that I showed you in my last video, and since then I picked up a couple other goodies, including this Panasonic. This is actually a close twin, or close enough to the LX-900, which is pretty popular now. In fact, for the longest time, everyone said that, you know, the Pioneer D704, CLD-D704 was one of the best players to get. And then quickly, there was like a kind of alternative voice amongst the Laserdisc player community that were in support of Panasonic players, and in particular the 900. There was an LX-1000, also known as a Prism player, that was a little bit older. And the 900, I don't believe has AC3 outs, but you can upgrade it. But it does have a really good picture and does not have the CLV smearing issue that the Pioneer has. And it's really, really nice picture quality. So, this is a close relative to that. It is the LX-H670. And it is, as I mentioned with the 900, bereft of an AC3 signal. But it does have a digital out. And it's got auto reverse, which is pretty nice. And, of course, plays compact disc and all that stuff. Pretty simple. I mean, if you've seen your way around a Pioneer deck, there's nothing really too amazing here. Unfortunately, Panasonic players don't really have much in the way of support. You could still order some parts for Pioneer players off of the internet, but not so much with Panasonic players. So there's the punch key pad there, and you could do a disc side A and B, and display off function and program at random and all that kind of good stuff. The one thing I like about these things is it's very, very quiet, especially compared with the Pioneers. So let's throw on some Mission Indubitable. And the tray actually works and opens, unlike Sony. Oh yeah, it also has the autoplay, but also, like a Blu-ray, will remember where you left off. So if I hit stop and hit play again, it'll actually have like a last memory function. But it is a really just nice, quiet player, which I appreciate. This I got from my buddy, and it was not working, in finger quotes, so I gladly took it off his hands. And there was a CD that got rocked on the inside of this thing, and was just completely shattered around the inner hub and twisted sideways. I have no idea what happened, but I had to do a little bit of TLC to get this thing up and running again. But once it did, yeah, it was running fine. And it has a relatively quick side change, about comparable to the Pioneers. But it's a nice little player. Here, we'll hit stop here and take a spin around the back. It's got 2 sets of audio and video outs. I always wondered what that was all about. Let me see if we can get it to focus here. It has let's see. It has 2 sets of audio and video outs. I always thought that was interesting. I mean, I guess it makes sense for the audio, because you can send one to the TV, and you can send, you know, one to a receiver, but it always seems interesting that you need 2 monitors. It has S-video out, And it does have the optical digital out for DTS and ProLogic PCM tracks. So yeah, it's a decent player, and it's actually got the cord pulls out too, I think, from April of 1995. So it's the LX-670U. There's also a 680, which I believe has AC3, but this one does not. But you can modify it. It's weird though. I think there's only a guy in Germany that has the mod kits available. So you have to get a mod kit, and then you have to be, proficient enough with a soldering iron to make it happen. I, however, am not really that into soldering, and there's a listing, a kind of numeration of 1 through 10 for difficulty for modding a player for AC3, and this one's high on that list. It's like a 7 or 8 out of 10. So I think I'd rather have somebody else do it for me, lest I fill the thing with solder and just goop up the board and kill it. But it is pretty nice, so I may try and AC3ify it, but yeah, nice player, works well, can't complain. The only thing this didn't have was a remote, and if I remember correctly from seeing my buddies, it was a really ugly looking remote, so I took it upon myself to order this bad boy. This is the remote that actually comes with the 900, and but everything works on this this model, and I got it from a guy who kept it in really good shape. It's a little huge and unwieldy, but the only thing that doesn't work is the jog shuttle. I don't believe does the proper fast forwarding on this model, but everything else, including all the display stuff and the time changes and all that kind of stuff, and the keypad, all works fine. So I'm gonna hold on to this, and then if I end up getting a 900 at some point too, I'll be able to keep that. So I did get one other player, so let's check that out. And yes, you can't have enough CLD-D704s. I had been buying some Laserdiscs from a friend of mine on Facebook and Laserdisc Forever of Levici, or I think it's 187 vinyl, Rick from Florida. He gets a lot of stuff from collections and things on Craigslist and stuff, and then sells them to collectors, and normally does a lot of vinyl stuff, but he had a 704 that wasn't working, and it was just starting up a disc and then failing, spinning to a stop. And he was just going to dump it off at like Goodwill or something. So I said, yeah, I'll take it from him and turn it into a pet project. And sure enough, it was definitely nothing easy. But with the help from Kurtis Bahr online, I was able to kind of do a lot of fine-tuning. I did the usual stuff, cleaned up the belt, and scraped up the rubber contacts on the clamp itself, but it was making a lot of weird noises. Even when I finally got it to start playing some discs, it would make some squeals, and I thought it might be a bad spindle motor at first, and I had a really hard time spinning up. But now it just keeps rocking solid. Before, right around here, a little bit before, it would just stop playing and just spin to a stop. But yeah, so it was great. Kurtis was able to help me, give me some tips on what to do, and it was more, the problem was the laser, the optics, it wasn't centered. So I was able to do a lot of tweaking, It was my first time messing around with that kind of stuff, so I was going into uncharted territory. But got it up and running, and then unfortunately once side A was working okay, then side B was on the line, so I had to then center this bad boy and get it running on side B. So yeah, really nice player. You've probably seen my other 704 in my previous laser collection video. But yeah, I love this bad boy. And this one's in nicer condition than my other one, so I'm actually just gonna swap it out and start using this as my prime deck. Check out the back a little bit. There is an AC3 RF out up here. Again, 2 sets of audio outs, 2 sets of video outs, and 2 S video outs. And there's a coaxial and an optical digital out for PCM and for DTS. And it's got a control thing. If you have like another Pioneer deck or another Pioneer TV or receiver, you can sync this up so I don't know, they all work together like one big happy family. But pretty cool stuff. This one made in September 1995. So yeah, great player. Glad I was able to get it back to life. Glad to have it as a part of my pantheon of Laserdisc players. And this will be my main deck pretty much from now on. So I never had the remote for this unit. The CLD-D704, which probably can't get to focus there. And I had a bitch of a time finding one of these things online. It actually has a cool little light button on the side, but I did finally find one. Ooh, it lights up, and if you go into jog mode for this this section, you can light that up. And you can do all the digital noise reduction and all that kind of stuff from here. Definitely a nice remote. Most Pioneer remotes from this period, like the 500 series, will work with the 700. I just didn't understand how this worked. If you notice, the eject is also the stop button. And for the longest time, I didn't think my other remotes ejected because I would press eject and I wouldn't think it would eject on the 704. You have to hit stop to make it eject. And to close it, you have to hit play. And likewise, I knew this had digital effects. If you notice it says digital memory, it has effects so you can do freeze frame and slow-mo and all that stuff on a CLV disc instead of just CAV discs. And I didn't think it worked because every time I hit pause on my other remotes on the 704, it would just go to a black screen. But that's what it does. If you actually want to see it do any still frame, you have to hit step or do the multi-speed stuff here. There's also a cool, I don't know if it's on here as well. There's a one-shot memory button. Yeah, it looks like it's only on here. But if you see this one-shot memory right there, if you hit that, it'll actually capture whatever you're watching, whatever still image, and then use that as like a frame kind of screensaver when it changes sides or when you change discs. So it's pretty cool. You can actually have an image up on the screen when you swap discs out. So needless to say, all the other remotes I had would actually do most of the stuff I needed with this deck. But I do finally have the proper remote. I found a copy, or not a copy, an original online. And it's pretty cool. I'll hold on to it for sure. And now I've got all the original remotes for all my Pioneer players. Hooray! So thanks for hanging out, checking out my new decks, and hopefully I'll have a little bit of a lull in collecting these things because I don't need like 30 of them. But I'm sure I may pick up a Panasonic LX-900 at some point, and I doubt I'm going to be getting the high-end Muse players or the Japanese players. But if I do, I'll make another video. So I hope you guys had a good time. Enjoy, and we'll see you soon with some more collection videos and reviews and all that kind of stuff. Cheers.